The richest man in Nigeria was dying of hunger in a world full of food, until a 9-year-old street girl saved his life with a plate of rice that cost 200 naira. But when Marcus Knight looked into her eyes and heard her call him Papa for the first time, he realized the truth that would shatter his heart into a million pieces. The little girl who could make him taste food again wasn't just a miracle. She was the daughter his own father had stolen from him 10 years ago. He thought he was buying his first meal in 3 years. He had no idea he was buying back the family he never knew he'd lost. The black Bentley pulled up outside the shabby medical center in Ikeja, its engine purring like a sleeping lion. Dr. Sarah Chen stepped out, her face grim as she approached the vehicle's tinted window. "Your test results are back, Marcus," she said, sliding into the passenger seat. "If you don't start eating real meals soon, your body will shut down completely. 3 years of surviving on 4 drips and protein shakes isn't living. It's dying slowly." Marcus Knight, 32, Nigeria's tech wonderboy worth over $2 billion, stared out the window with hollow eyes. His once strong frame had withered to bones wrapped in expensive suits. "I've tried everything, Sarah. Every chef in Lagos, every restaurant in London, New York, Dubai. Nothing has taste. Nothing stays down. This isn't just physical anymore," Dr. Chen said softly. "Ever since Jessica died in that car crash, you've been punishing yourself. Your mind won't let you enjoy anything, including food." Marcus closed his eyes. 3 years ago, his fiancée Jessica had died in a terrible accident on their wedding day. Since then, food turned to ash in his mouth. Water felt like poison. He survived on medical supplements, but his body was giving up. "Drive," he told his driver, James. "Anywhere but home." As the Bentley rolled through Lagos traffic, Marcus caught a smell. Something incredible. Something that made his stomach actually growl for the first time in years. "Stop the car," he whispered. "Sir, stop the car." James hit the brakes outside a busy street corner in Surulere. There, beside a gutter and under a rusty zinc roof, sat a little girl with the brightest smile Marcus had ever seen. She was stirring a big pot of rice over a small gas burner, humming a song. "Sir, this area is not safe for you," James warned. But Marcus was already stepping out, drawn by the smell like a man in a desert following water. The girl looked up. She was maybe 9 years old, with bright eyes and braided hair tied with colorful ribbons. Her clothes were clean but old, patched in several places. "Good afternoon, Uncle," she called out cheerfully. "You want rice?" Marcus approached slowly. A small crowd of customers sat on plastic chairs, eating from paper plates and chatting loudly. Office workers, students, mechanics, all eating like the food was sent from heaven. "How much?" Marcus asked quietly. 200 naira, but for you 150, the girl grinned. "You look sad. Sad people get discount." Behind her, a young woman who looked about 28 emerged from a small wooden shack. Her name was Grace, and when she saw Marcus, her face went completely white. She grabbed the girl's shoulder quickly. "Lily, go inside and get more plates," she said, her voice shaking. "But Mama, I want to serve the sad uncle." "Go inside now." The little girl, confused, disappeared into the shack. Grace turned to Marcus, her hands trembling as she served him a plate of jollof rice with fried plantain and chicken. "That'll be 200 naira, she said, not meeting his eyes. Marcus took the plate and sat on a plastic chair. He raised the fork to his mouth, expecting the usual nothing. But when the rice touched his tongue, something magical happened. Taste. Real. Incredible. Overwhelming taste. The rice was perfect. Smoky, spicy, with just enough oil. The plantain was sweet and caramelized. The chicken was tender and juicy. But it wasn't just the food. It was like someone had turned the lights back on in his soul. He ate everything. Every grain of rice. Every piece of plantain. He licked the plate clean like a man who'd been starving in the desert. The other customers stared. Some recognized him and started whispering, "Isn't that Marcus Knight? The billionaire? What's he doing here?" But Marcus didn't care. He looked up at Grace, who was watching him with tears in her eyes. "Who cooked this?" he asked. "My daughter, Lily. She's incredible. This is the first real meal I've had in 3 years." Grace wiped her eyes quickly. "You should go now. This place isn't for people like you." "People like me? Rich people. Powerful people. People who leave." The way she said, "people who leave," hit him like a punch. There was pain in her voice. Old pain. "I'd like to come back tomorrow," Marcus said softly. "We might not be here tomorrow," Grace replied, turning away. But Marcus knew he would find them. For the first time in 3 years he had hope. That night, in his $20 million penthouse, Marcus couldn't stop thinking about the little girl's smile and Grace's tears. He called his assistant, Peter. "Peter, I need you to find out everything about a woman named Grace who runs a food stall in Surrey. She has a daughter named Lily, about 9 years old." "Sir, with respect, why do you care about some street food seller?" "Just do it, Peter. And be discreet." The next morning, Marcus was back at the stall before Grace and Lily even arrived. He watched from his car as they set up, Grace carrying the heavy pot, little Lily arranging plastic chairs and plates with such joy and energy. When they saw him approach, Lily clapped her hands excitedly. "The sad uncle came back. Mama, he came back." But Grace looked terrified. "Uncle, you want rice again?" Lily asked, already serving him without waiting for an answer. "Yes, please," Marcus smiled. For the first time in years, he was actually smiling. As he ate, he watched Lily work. She moved around the small space like a professional chef, tasting the rice, adjusting the seasoning, serving customers with such care and pride. She was special. Really special. "Lily," Marcus said, "how did you learn to cook so well?" "My mama taught me, but I just feel what the food needs. Like it talks to me." She was so bright, so full of life. And there was something about her face. "Lily, how old are you exactly?" "I'm 9, but Mama says I'll be 10 next month." Marcus's heart stopped. He quickly did the math in his head. 10 years ago. He looked at Grace, who had gone pale again. "Grace, can I speak with you privately?" "No. Leave us alone. Please." But Marcus wasn't leaving. Not this time. Not when he'd finally found something. Someone who made him feel alive again. "I'll be back tomorrow," he said firmly. "We won't be here," Grace replied. "Then I'll find you." That evening, Peter called with information that made Marcus's world spin. "Sir, I found some interesting things about Grace Williams. 10 years ago, she worked as a secretary at Knight Industries, your father's company. She left suddenly without notice." Marcus's blood turned cold. "What else?" "She was never married, sir. But she has that daughter, Lily. Born exactly 9 months after she left the company." Marcus dropped the phone. 9 months. He grabbed his laptop and pulled up old company photos from 10 years ago. There she was, Grace Williams, young and beautiful, smiling at the camera in a group photo from the company Christmas party. The same party where he'd met a sweet, shy secretary named Grace. The same party where they'd spent the whole night talking and laughing. The same party that led to 3 months of secret meetings, stolen kisses, and whispered promises. Until his father found out. "She's just a poor girl trying to trap you for money," his father had raged. "I've handled it. She won't bother you again." Marcus had tried to find Grace, but she'd vanished. His father said she'd taken money and left. Marcus, young and trusting, had believed him. Now, looking at Lily's bright eyes and infectious smile, Marcus saw his own mother's face. The same eyes. The same stubborn chin. The same way of tilting her head when thinking. Lily wasn't just the girl who could make him taste food again. Lily was his daughter. The next morning, Marcus didn't take his Bentley. He took a regular taxi and arrived at the stall just as Grace was lighting the gas burner. But when she saw him, she didn't run. She just stood there, defeated. "You know, don't you?" she whispered. "Is she mine?" Grace's shoulders sagged. "It doesn't matter. You have your life. We have ours. It matters to me." His shout made several customers look up. Lily poked her head out from the shack. "Uncle, why are you shouting? Are you hungry?" "Don't worry, rice is almost ready." Marcus knelt down to Lily's level. Up close, the resemblance was undeniable. She had his mother's eyes, his late mother's exact eyes. "Lily, do you know who I am? You're my favorite customer. The one who really likes my food." Marcus felt his heart break into 1,000 pieces. "Grace, we need to talk. Really talk. There's nothing to talk about. Your father made sure of that 10 years ago." "My father? What did he do?" Grace laughed bitterly. "You really don't know? He came to my house the day I planned to tell you about the pregnancy. He offered me 2 million naira to disappear and never contact you again." Marcus felt like he'd been hit by a truck. "You took the money?" "I was 18, Marcus. Pregnant. Scared. With no family. He said if I didn't take it, he'd make sure I never got another job in Lagos. That I'd end up on the streets. But you took it and left anyway." "I took it to survive. To make sure our baby had a chance. Do you know what it's like to be pregnant and alone at 18? Marcus stared at her, pieces falling into place. "You could have told me. Your father said you knew. He said you agreed it was better this way. That you didn't want a child with a poor girl." "That's a lie." Grace wiped tears from her eyes. "I waited for you to find me, Marcus. 4 months I waited. You never came." The truth hit Marcus like a physical blow. His father had lied to both of them. Manipulated them. Destroyed their chance at happiness and robbed him of 9 years with his daughter. "Grace, I never stopped looking for you. When I couldn't find you, I thought you'd played me for money, just like my father said." They stared at each other across 10 years of pain and misunderstanding. "Mama, Uncle, why are you both crying?" Lily appeared between them, confusion in her bright eyes. Marcus looked at his daughter. His daughter, and felt his heart explode with love and regret. "Lily," he said softly, "what if I told you I was your papa?" Lily's eyes went wide. "Really?" "But Mama said my papa went to heaven." Grace closed her eyes. "I told her that because it was easier than explaining that her father didn't know she existed." "But I'm not in heaven, Lily. I'm right here." Lily looked from Marcus to Grace, her young mind trying to process this huge revelation. "So you're really my papa? For real?" "Yes, baby. I'm your papa." What happened next broke Marcus completely. Lily threw herself into his arms with such force and joy that he nearly fell over. She hugged him like she'd been waiting her whole life for this moment. "I knew it," she squealed. "I told Mama you felt special. I told her you felt like family." Marcus held his daughter tight, tears streaming down his face. For the first time in 3 years, maybe in his whole life, he felt complete. But their reunion was interrupted by the sound of car doors slamming. 3 black SUVs had pulled up, and out stepped Marcus's father, Richard Knight, followed by 6 security men. At 65, Richard Knight was still imposing, tall, silver-haired, with cold gray eyes that had never shown mercy. "So you found your little mistake," Richard said icily. Grace instinctively pulled Lily behind her. The other customers scattered, sensing danger. "She's not a mistake," Marcus said, standing up slowly. "She's my daughter. She's the daughter of a gold digger who tried to trap my son. I dealt with this problem 10 years ago, and I'll deal with it again. The only problem here is you, Father. You lied to me. You made me think Grace abandoned me for money. Richard laughed coldly. She did abandon you. For 2 million naira. Money well spent to keep this complication out of our lives. Papa, who is this mean man? Lily whispered to Marcus. Your grandfather, Marcus replied, never taking his eyes off his father. Richard's face twisted with disgust. I am not grandfather to some street child. That's when Marcus's control snapped. Get out, he roared. Get out before I do something we'll both regret. You ungrateful boy. Everything you have I built. The company, the money, your entire life. And you want to throw it away for some slum girl and her bastard child. Marcus stepped forward, his fists clenched. Call my daughter that word again. I dare you. Richard smiled coldly. What daughter? You have no proof she's yours. Could be anyone's child. Then let's do a DNA test right now. Fine. But when it proves I'm right, you'll forget this nonsense and come home. The family name won't be dragged through the mud because you got soft over some cooking. And when it proves you're wrong, you'll apologize to Grace and Lily. Publicly. Richard extended his hand. Deal. They shook hands, but Richard's grip lingered. You're about to lose everything, son. Your inheritance, your position, your future. All for a fantasy. I already lost everything that mattered 10 years ago. I'm just getting it back. 2 hours later, at a private medical facility, they had the results. Dr. Chen opened the envelope with shaking hands. The results are conclusive. Marcus Knight is the biological father of Lily Williams. 99.9% certainty. Richard's face went white. Then purple. Then white again. Marcus didn't gloat. He simply said, You owe my family an apology. Family. Richard spat. You call this motley group family? More family than you ever were to me. Richard stormed out, but not before turning back with venom in his eyes. Enjoy your poverty, son. You'll never see another penny of Knight Industries money. You're dead to me. Good, Marcus replied. I was already dead to myself. Now I'm alive again. That evening, Marcus sat with Grace and Lily in their small one-room home behind the food stall. It wasn't much, just a bed, a small table, and a few belongings. But it felt more like home than his mansion ever had. Papa, are you sad about losing all your money? Lily asked, snuggled against his side. Money can't buy what I found today, Marcus said, kissing her forehead. What did you find? She asked innocently. My heart. My family. My reason to live. Grace spoke quietly from the corner where she was making tea. Marcus, you don't have to do this. I never wanted to trap you or ruin your life. You didn't ruin my life, Grace. You saved it. Both of you did. He pulled out his phone and called Peter. Peter, I need you to set up Knight Industries differently. I'm starting my own company. And I want you to transfer $500 million to Grace Williams' account immediately. Sir, your father has already frozen your accounts. You have no access to Knight Industries funds. Marcus smiled. Good thing I have other accounts he doesn't know about. Cryptocurrency, offshore investments. I'm not as helpless as he thinks. What should I call the new company, sir? Marcus looked at Lily, who was drawing a picture of the three of them holding hands. Lily's Kitchen Technologies. We're going to revolutionize how people experience food and family. 6 months later, Marcus stood in front of his new restaurant. Not a fancy place, but a beautiful warm space where Grace and Lily could cook for people who needed more than just food. They needed healing. The sign outside read, Lily's Kitchen, where food heals hearts. Inside, Grace managed a team of chefs while Lily, now 10, taught cooking classes for other children. Marcus had discovered that Lily's gift wasn't just cooking. She had an incredible ability to help people through food. Somehow, she could sense what people needed to heal emotionally, and she cooked it into every meal. Their restaurant became famous not for expensive ingredients or fancy presentations, but for something much more valuable. It helped broken people remember how to feel again. "Papa, look!" Lily called out, pointing to the evening news on the small TV. The headline read, "Knight Industries stock crashes after CEO Richard Knight arrested for fraud." Marcus smiled sadly. His father's greed had finally caught up with him. "Are you happy he got in trouble?" Lily asked. "No, baby. I'm not happy when anyone gets in trouble. But sometimes people have to face the consequences of their choices." "Will you forgive him?" Marcus looked at his incredible daughter, wise beyond her years, full of love even for people who'd hurt her family. "Yes, I'll forgive him. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing love over anger." As he tucked Lily into bed that night, she asked him the question that made everything worth it. "Papa, are you still sad like when I first met you?" Marcus kissed her goodnight and smiled. "No, baby. I'm not sad anymore. I found my family. I found my purpose. I found myself. Because of my rice? Because of your love." Outside their window, Lagos bustled with its usual energy. But inside their small apartment above the restaurant, Marcus Knight, former billionaire, current father and husband-to-be, was the richest man in the world. Because he'd learned the most important truth of all. Real wealth isn't measured in money. It's measured in moments like these, with people who love you not for what you have, but for who you are. And sometimes, it takes losing everything to find what really matters. Sometimes, it takes a 9-year-old girl with a wooden spoon and a heart full of love to teach a billionaire how to live again.